So, here we are. I have a dirty little secret about my underwear and my hospital sheets. When I was 19 years old, I had a car accident nearby here, near Barnum Pond. I was on my way back to Colgate Camp on Upper Saranac Lake, a camp that my parents managed and we all had grown up at. And it was early in the morning, and I was in my brother's borrowed car, big Dodge Charger with a steering wheel like this big, and the seats that just flipped up, with no mechanism to keep them down, and my little sister in the back seat sleeping. Happened to be her birthday, and I was bringing us both back up to camp, and technically, I didn't fall asleep, okay? I did the nod, the old head nod. But I had the windows up, I had the music down low because she was sleeping in the back seat, covered up with one of my old prom dresses, and I open my eyes, and I see the hood ornament perfectly lined up with the guardrails, the beginning of the guardrails. So I shut my eyes quickly. I ride those guardrails up. I feel like the roof of the car. Of course, this is before seatbelt usage. I hear all this noise, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting on the side of the road in a ditch. I have a leg bent up. I can't move it. I'm looking in the woods, and my sister comes running out of the woods at me with that prom dress around her shoulders. And she says, "What happened?" So I look over my shoulder. I'm like, shit, I just wrecked Bobby's car. So the wheels are spinning, there's steam coming out, the hood of the car is standing in the woods, and I'm looking at Sandy, and I'm like, come here, because I can't move. So she comes running over, I give her this big hug, because it could have been really much worse. She starts crying, and she says, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, run up to the road and see if you can get somebody to stop." I can hear a car coming by, so she runs up to the road, she runs back down. Now she's really crying, they didn't stop. And the woman that had driven by saw the car and thought, my God, that must have happened the night before, or those people are dead, I'm not gonna be able to help them. But she looked in the rearview mirror and she saw Sandy standing in the middle of the road with that prom dress around her shoulders. So she turned around and came back, and she said, "I'll make a phone call, you'll be okay." So she left, and then a doctor stopped on his way into Saranac Lake General Hospital back in the day, and he said, "I think you've dislocated your hip. You'll be okay." I said, "All right." So the ambulance comes, we go into the hospital. I'm in the ER before I go into the x-ray, and they shimmy off my jeans, because I was a hot 19-year-old, remember? And then a nurse comes with the scissors, and she clips off my underwear, snip, snip, pulls out my undies, holds them up like this, and says, "Do you want these?" Sorry, Mom. Stained. Holes. Bad elastic. And I'm like, no, I'm okay with those. Into x-ray, where I find out that I have broken my pelvis in 4 places. And which is all right. I'm like, I can deal with that. I really wanted the semester off anyway. Colgate kind of sucked, but don't tell Colgate. So then and with a pelvic fracture, often you can puncture your bladder. So they catheterize me, bring in a big saline bag and say, "We're going to empty this bag into your bladder. And when you get the urge to go to the bathroom, let us know, and we'll see if there's any blood." Well, that whole bag went in. I have a bladder about this big, and which is fine. I had no punctures to the bladder. I go up to the floor. I'm there for almost 2 weeks, but before they're going to send me home, I have to have a bowel movement, as we all know, and I hadn't eaten a lot in 2 weeks, and I certainly hadn't been very active in 2 weeks. So I got the enema. And the nurse comes in with a little fracture bedpan, which is very shallow, as we all know. And then it goes right down to nothing, so they can stick it underneath my broken buttocks. And she says to me, I say to her, "I need to urinate." And she goes, "Oh, honey, you can do that all at once." And I'm thinking back to that bag of fluid in my head-sized bladder. And I'm like, okay, you're the professional, so I get the enema with a roommate, with visitors, which is really nice. So I'm tooting away, whistling, tooting, and my butt rose up off the bed like this. So I'm laying I was like a baby in a giant mess. She comes back, opens a curtain, opens a sheet, looks at me, which I'm like, yeah, don't you remember the bladder thing? And then she had a mail orderly change my sheets, which was really nice, but I made it out. I didn't kill my sister. I still owe my brother a car. Sorry, Mom, about the undies. And Sandy, it was not your fault, that accident, all right? Thank you.